Hello, collectors. Welcome to the latest For Collectors live stream. I am John, the 3D80s Kid, your host for this evening, and I have got a very special guest. He has been there through it all. He's seen it all. He is a deep expert on vintage baseball cards, and he is here to answer any questions you might have. And let's get this thing rolling.
Welcome to For Collectors.
All right, welcome to the screen, Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. Glad to have you.
Well, hey, thanks, John, for sending out a little text to see if I wanted to do it, and I'm all in, man. Let's go.
I've been trying to get this guy on a show for months, and he's been avoiding me. You know, occasionally he pops into stuff with Mangini, but I've never been able to pin him down solo. And this is, I feel blessed with this opportunity.
Well, let's see after this if you're blessed or not.
All right. Well, let's give a quick hello to the chat. I see we got pushing 20 people in here. Welcome, Andrew Deutsch, Stephen with a PH. Hello from Canada. Jacob Dahl. We have got Phil Necrofan 35. David over at Peacemaker Cards. We have got Keegan Vintage Goats. Peter B is in the house. Lou Rock TV, welcome. Mark Hoyles, Impossible Dream, and Peeps, Bay Area represent. I grew up initially in the Bay Area. I was born there, but no longer as I moved to the Pacific Northwest when I was 24. So, but how's everybody doing? All right. So I brought Rick on here knowing that he is a guy who has seen so much more vintage than, you know, many of us combined. Has, you know, seen everything. He a deep knowledge of baseball cards, and I wanted to bring that to the program. So, Rick, how you want to start? You want to show us something and then start giving us the story on, you know, some of your cards from your childhood here, right?
Yeah. So I've mentioned this before on some live streams that I was born in 1962. My mom, I have three brothers. Two of us are sports fans. The other two are more into cars and so forth. So myself and my younger brother, we would collect baseball cards. And my mom, my dad was a teacher. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So just a middle-class family in California. And, you know, she loved garage sales. So she would hit all kinds of garage sales on Saturdays. She would even have a map or write down a list, you know, the old map in which, you know, and she would pinpoint where she was going to go. And sometimes I would come along, but because most of the time there was no baseball cards or anything. So I just said, Mom, if you see baseball cards, pick them up. I'll pay you back. Of course, I never paid her back. Okay. And she would bring home a box of, you know, 67, 68, 69 baseball cards. And most of them are all beaters and, you know, just scattered, just a box full of them. And so I loved on my bed to sort through them by team, by, you know, number, the checklist. I used to use the checklist, you know, because I didn't know, you know, here I'm, 8 years old, 10 years old. You know, I didn't get the magazines or no computer. So I had no idea if there were 660 cards or 20 cards. And, you know, I would have them. And then she would go to another garage sale next week. And back then, you know, people were just selling the cards. They had no idea of the value. I had no idea of the value. But so it was like a gold mine for me. So I didn't pick up I did pick up packs because packs were everywhere when I was a kid, but mostly I got my cards from garage sales or flea markets back then. And that's kind of how I got hooked. And my friends, we would trade or they would sell me. And I was mostly, I love my Giants. So I didn't care less about any other team really. So if I was missing a Giant, whatever it was, Willie McCubby or Bobby Bonds or whatever, I would trade, get that card. I didn't even care if it was a beater or not. I'd rather have that card than, whoever, some all-star players. So that's kind of it was kind of like the Wild West actually back then. It's nothing like it is today. Nothing like it is today. So that's kind of how I got hooked. And I've been over the years, probably until around in 1981, I probably stopped collecting. A little bit late 80s, 90s, I really didn't collect. Then got back in, got back in really with eBay and so forth. Mid 90s, I would go on there and what the heck, man? There's a '67 Willie Mays card, that type of thing. And I got hooked on eBay. And back then it was just, you send a check in or whatever. It was just kind of funny. People would, cancel things or, hey, they call me up or whatever and say, hey, you wanted somebody backed out, that kind of thing. You want the card, you were the second highest bidder. And anyway, so that's kind of the background. And then lead up to now, with YouTube and stuff and all the friends in the community, it got me re-energized and I'm full in now. So that's kind of the background. So I can show you. Let me show you.
We have a question already from Lou Rock here of how do you truly feel about non-playing days cards?
Well, I don't mind them, but I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars for a non-playing day, let's say Babe Ruth card.
Yeah.
I'd love to have it, but if I'm going to spend my money, I'd rather have a plain days card or save my money for a plain days card. So that's just, Lou knows that. So he always teases me about that in the chat. But that's just me. I mean, I'm not going to pay a couple $1,000s for a Joe Jackson card. And that's non-playing.
Like a 1940 play ball. I don't. It's crazy how much that goes for.
That's what I'm saying. Now, would I love to have it? Yes. I'll pick up a non-playing days card, but I'm just not going to pay thousands of dollars for one. So that's just mine. But I can start with, since we were on I was talking about the flea markets, and my biggest pickup, garage sale pickup of all time, is this 1911 T212 Obak of Buck Weaver. This is a minor league card. And most of you know Buck Weaver being the Black Sox. He was one of the ones kicked out of baseball. Fantastic player. And my mom, now back then, we didn't have cell phones. So she called she asked the lady, hey, can I use your phone to call my house and see if my son wants this card? There was like 4 of them, and they're all minor league cards. And of course I said, yeah, Mom, get it. It was $12. $12 she paid. And my brother, we kind of split it. I think there's 4 cards. I have 2 of them. And I took the Buck Weaver, of course, because I was the older kid. And this card's like a couple $1,000s now, plus, for a Buck Weaver minor league card. And I got this graded myself at the San Francisco TriStar, and you can see it's an older slab, so in the 90s, I believe. Got a grade and came out of 4. So my biggest pickup of a $12 card and to 2,000 plus. I didn't know what I had. I didn't even know what these things look like. What the heck is that? But Mom, yeah, pick it up, Mom, pick it up. I'll pay you back. That type of thing.
And clearly you took care of it because a 4 is a spectacular grade on those.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny, it's because she would bring home, people just didn't know what they had. Nowadays, you go to a garage sale, you're going to see a bunch of junk wax or whatever. It's kind of been picked through or what, you look through a box and all the stars are gone. But back then, the parents were getting rid of the cards and you were lucky enough so I built the 67 set, the 68 set, the 69 set, the 70, 71, all just because of mostly garage sales over when I was a kid. So that's the Buckwheeler, probably my choice, my fantastic steal of a deal.
Oh yeah, the percentage return on that one's pretty high.
Yeah, so. And what's interesting, I can't remember what my brother has, but they were all, minor league West Coast, San Francisco issue cards. So being in, the Bay Area, it's kind of interesting that, they were local cards basically. And they came up with the San Francisco, a lot of, Seals cards. And so this is Weaver, San Francisco PCL, And it's kind of a shame with him is if you look, because I collect photos too, and any photo you see of him, he always had a smile on his face, loved baseball, and he just didn't turn people in. That's his, his crime, basically. He didn't take the money.
Yeah, that's how they had John Cusack portray that in the 8 Men Out movie.
It's just a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see him being penalized, being kicked out of baseball. They just made an example of all those players, especially him. And he, like I said, just loved baseball. And you can see that on his face. And then back then, I mean, all those guys cheated. All those guys bet on, not all of them, but, they knew what was going on. Not just the Black Sox, but other teams. Hal Chase, the manager knew he bet. I mean, everyone knew these players bet. There's rumors that Speaker and Ty Cobb bet. And I
heard that they were close to getting banned almost.
Yeah, they got kicked out until they were reinstated by Landis. So I mean, it's different times.
Yeah,
just, like I said, made an example of all those players. So it's just kind of a shame. Anyway, that's probably why his card's so much is because of the story, obviously, behind it. Buck Weaver being the third.
The stories made it so all of those guys' cards are pretty high.
Yeah,
but, the way he was portrayed definitely promoted him even higher than others.
Yeah, so. And I guess his family, his sisters, and his relatives were trying to get him reinstated in baseball up to the 1990s. To clear his name and get him just at least reinstated, even though he passed away a long time ago. So,
according to Dan, the Speaker Cobb thing has been debunked. So,
yeah, I don't. I mean, Joe Wood says, who knows? I'm sure a lot of because they would do a lot of gambling, not just baseball. They would do a lot of gambling on other things too. And back then, it was just like the Wild West. So, but I guess my bottom line is there was players like Hal Chase that would still find jobs. They knew he cheated. Players knew he cheated, but he was still playing baseball until, whatever. So just, I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole different, we could go on.
Yeah, you got another one to show us?
Yeah, so let's see here. So let's throw out my first, I think this was one of my first Lou Gehrig cards. It's a 1928 W502 in a 5. Very similar to like the Harringtons, the Yinglings, the Thorpes, and so forth like that. Blank back though. So my thing is, and it says here, and I'm going to go to my grave on this. It says hand cut. These were not hand cut.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single one that looks like it's hand cut.
No, but they will never change it on the slab. These are not hand cut. My guess, you have a salesperson. Okay, a salesperson going to these different companies. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. There we go. Look at that. God,
Twinsies.
yours is really nice, man.
Yeah, it has tape on the top and bottom that made it a lot cheaper than a 5 would be.
Yeah. So these basically, a salesperson went around and said, "Hey, anyone want to buy these cards? You can put advertisements on the back. We'll print them out for you." And I'm sure they're the exact same manufacturer. It's just blank back.
Oh, we got a request from Mike that you can send that to him. So
Yeah. So this was, I think, one of my first Lou Gehrig cards. As you can see, it's an older. I love to have the Ruth and the W502. It's a portrait, but it's so expensive
it goes
nowadays.
high, yes.
It wasn't always high though, but now just not going to do it.
Yeah.
At least
Right
actually,
now. The 2 transactions of this card in this calendar year, they're electronic, auctions were myself and Mike Petty. So
okay, I love the size too of that card, the Harrington cards. They're some of my favorite cards. So that's let's see. I can throw out. Give me 1 second here. Just okay. So here's the. This is all random. Here's the 1932 U.S. Caramel Babe Ruth, and this one's pretty tough. I'm very expensive nowadays. See if I can get kind of the lighting's terrible. There we go. Very expensive.
Yeah, that set is expensive, and even though population-wise, those things are much higher than the last 2 cards you've shown.
Probably a couple hundred, maybe, but not. I mean, the Gaudis are what, 1,000 of them plus.
231 graded of that card. Yeah. Yes, the Gaudis are in the 1,500 to 2,000 range.
And the reason, this I think is a Boston area issue. Okay, and kids didn't like these cards apparently, so they didn't purchase them. And I can tell that. I mean, if you have a one that's like you never see them in high grade, but let's say if there was one in a 7 or an 8, it would have the bright red background, but most of them were not like that. I mean, they're pretty much, they're not the most aesthetic pleasing cards, but you would be able to turn in the pictures to receive a baseball or a fielding glove. And of course, the U.S. Caramel, they short printed one, and that's the Lindstrom, Lindy Lindstrom, which you never find, and you're paying, you're paying. It's over my head to own one.
There's less than 10 known of those, I think.
Yeah, and they, I have some other cards similar to that these companies just screwed the kids.
And they did the same thing with that president's set.
Yeah, I mean, so this one here, I picked one of the auction houses, and I paid like $2,000, maybe $2,500, $2,000, $2,500. I think this one's going 10, maybe 10,000 plus in this kind of condition, which is kind of crazy. And I should have bought both. They had this one and the Lou Gehrig.
Yeah, I found actually the stats on your card. You bought it in December of 2020 from REA.
REA, it was about 2,500 or something like that? Or?
You paid more than that.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, according to VCP, you paid $4,680.
I don't think I paid that much. But anyway.
That's what their record had. So
no, I don't think I paid that much.
Okay.
But I wish I had the like I said, the Lou Gehrig was for sale too. And anyway, that was one of my. I mean, it's crazy going for crazy prices now. And it's like I said, it's not the best looking card in the world, and you really don't see them in high grade. Literally, most of them are 2s and 3s at most.
Oh yeah, those all go for 5 figures now.
Yeah.
Generally.
Let's see what I got. How about a couple interesting ones? Is the 1911 baseball bats, and this is of see if I can get the lighting better. This is of Walter Johnson. Kind of looks like Grover Alexander, but I actually matched up this card, this photo here, with the actual photo with the card. So it actually is Walter Johnson, and this was cut off a box, a candy box. Then the baseball bats was like a licorice. So it had, when you actually, I've seen a picture of the actual box, and it has these bats on the box, and it had like a long licorice coming, sticking out of the box. So they were licorice, and you would cut them off, and they came in two different borders. You'd have the orange border, and you'd have the white border. And very similar to the orange border cards that you see out there, but the difference is the font itself. And this mentions the team name, but the orange border does not mention. So that's kind of the difference. And this is pretty tough to find. Only a few of them are out there. And if you go to, like, when I do my research, I go to Net 54. I think this one originally was somebody in Southern California originally sold it to someone else, and it ended up on my plate. So I love this kind of stuff.
Well, what I saw for the electronic record is the last purchase of that specific serial number was August of 2022 off eBay.
That was me. It was buy
Okay.
it now. It was buy it now, and I made an offer to the person. It was on there, eBay, for a long time. And I just said, you know what? Hey, I'll make an offer, and picked it up.
I think the vast majority on eBay have no idea what it is, because it's literally in the FGC Pop Report incorrectly listed as one, but looking through the VCP records, I found 3 different copies. So there might only be 3 graded copies in existence.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful. I mean, literally, you're talking 1911, and just the color and stuff on it is just fantastic. To be cut off, and I love it has the actual border on it. A lot of times the borders are missing too, and to keep with that kind of. So this is a replica of I picked up. Now I don't have the original, but looks like the box. This is what the orange borders look like, the box itself. And then it'll have the team on the back. Looks, yeah, sorry. So it looks very similar to the baseball bats one. And you'd have a player like Chrissy Matthews in here, and you would cut it off. Okay. Like, let's see. Do something like this. So the orange border is very similar to the baseball bats, but I believe they're a different company altogether. So they weren't maybe the same manufacturer, but they were a different candy company altogether. Now I do have another one here that I got from James was the middleman. James Elite Hunters was the middleman. So there was an elderly gentleman. He went to his house and he was selling some of his cards. And I would be texting James, hey, what does the guy have? Tell me what he has. What don't you want? And he was with another gentleman. So I was like the third place person. And he says, hey, this is right up my line. He has another Walter Johnson strip card here. So
now this one is so much more numerous that there's 8 graded copies.
Yeah, 8 graded copies. And this was actually cut off a notebook, literally a notebook, a thick notebook. So it would have Mathewson, all the different players. And so there's a few, actually, the actual notebook, there's a few out there. if you go Google it. But you could probably guess who else has. There's 8, like you said, 8 copies. Who do you think has another copy of this?
Dave?
No, John.
Okay.
And Jeannie. I tease him because
That'll be the next guess.
mine's a better copy than his. But I text him, hey, I bet you don't got this card. He's got it. So those are the types of things I like to just the odd stuff. Now, those are kind of oddball. You got to admit, I don't care who you are out there. Those are oddball things right there. Those types of no way. What's he saying? No way.
I don't know.
Because I know he has one. He showed me his. Oh, maybe you say no way because mine is better looking than his.
Or no way to
I can keep rambling. I could show more stuff. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Well, I don't see anybody asking questions in here other than me broadcasting apparently during too many sporting events. So,
yeah, I think the Steeler game's on right now.
And somebody said, and the WNBA finals. What's that?
Is Caitlin Clark playing? I'm not watching.
Exactly.
I can show more. Well,
yeah, let's keep it coming.
I love because I have no one to show these to. Literally, my wife has no idea. My son
Dan wants to know if you're going to Strongsville.
Question. It's a week later. I'm going to Europe. So, as of right now, probably not. I don't think I can. One weekend and the next week go to Europe for 10 days. So most likely it's going to be just Chicago, unfortunately, this time.
All right.
But let's see. What else I got? All right.
Chris from Missouri is here, probably to rub the fact that good old number 51 won today, huh?
This is a family show, right? I don't need to stick my finger up, right?
Yeah, we got 2 49er fans on the screen.
But hey, I live in California. He lives in Missouri. That's all I'm saying.
There you go. One of those flyover states.
All right, so I have a 1928 anonymous W565. This has got to be the highest graded strip card you're ever going to see. It's a 9.
I was pretty shocked seeing that one that you previewed the cards to me with.
The lighting's just so bad, man. Yeah, so this is a 9. I think there's a few 9s. So I don't know.
There are a handful of 9s, and there's actually one that's graded a PSA 10 on that card.
Really? It must be the same person. I'd imagine. You know what I'm saying? He bought these strips, and he was really good at cutting them because you just never see them in this, and it's a dark back here. I think there's only, 3 players in the set, maybe 4. Heilman, Lazari's in the set, maybe? Uh-oh, we lost John.
That's telling me my camera's unplugged again, even though I'm using the default one on the computer.
This is the Lou Gehrig, and just I don't know, very cool. It's a multi-sport set, and like I said, I think there's only 3 players. Heilman, Simmons is also in the set too. All these cards kind of run together, different strip issues and so forth. But I think it came in a red and a black, 2 different strips, but kind of cool. Let's see. As I'm the only one on here, how about I pull a... Oh, shoot. What should I show you? All right. I have here a 1927 Honey Boy. And these you don't see very often. It's a Canadian issue ice cream company. Now, it really shouldn't be called Honey Boy. It should be called the Purity Ice Cream Company. So whoever started the ice cream itself, one of the brands they had was Honey Boy. Okay, but it's Purity Ice Cream Company from Canada. Here it is here. A Tris speaker in a 2. And there's only a few of these out there. A few of them have been canceled with a big hole punch, meaning they turned them in for a block of ice cream. It's a block of, and I think you actually had to physically go to the factory to turn them in to get the block of ice cream. So you don't see these very often. The big boy in the set is the Babe Ruth. But the Tris speaker is probably right behind him. You know, as many of you know, the great center fielder, one of the best players of all time. And it says here that kind of basically tells you 21 photos and redeemable at the plant. I actually looked up the plant, and the plant is still there. Not the company, but the brick building is still there. So I'd love to do those kinds of things, you know, to look up the background, where it came from, is the company still there, that type of thing. But of course, this one here was short printed too. So they're all, you know, just to basically screw the kids. So I was really happy to get this one. And there's Eddie Collins in the set, Tris speaker, Babe Ruth, but very cool. So
Nice.
that's the Honey Boy.
Oh, Dylan did have a question about the hand cut cards, if they had dotted lines or something to cut on.
Some do. This one here didn't have a, for instance, this one here, you just have to be outside of the border, basically, so you can see the outline. And so I guess if it's cut even a little tighter, it'd still give you a grade. But if it's cut inside the dotted lines, it's going to be authentic, most likely. But I've seen them, you know, it's kind of the Wild West when it comes to these hand cut cards, especially the older ones, when the older labels, you know, I don't know how they determine what is what, but I think nowadays it's supposed to be outside of the dots, or at least on the dotted line, to be a number grade.
All right.
What else I got? As I'm rolling through here.
Yeah, Honey Boy card. They're generally about 10 graded copies of each card in that set. So those are pretty rare.
Pretty rare. And when I saw it, I just had to have it. I don't even know, remember, you probably know because you were saying, I don't know where I picked that up. But anyway.
The last sale of your card there was probably you. It's 2022 April Love of the Game auction.
Love of the Game auction. Okay, so it's an auction house. Yeah. And some people, you know, I mean, there's not like a big demand. I mean, there's probably not a lot of people like me that just totally pick up the rare stuff, or if it's that much money, they just go on to a different card. So I probably didn't have a lot of bidders on it, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah, a card that rare, you got it for 900 according to this.
Yeah, so 900. So I'm sure it's a lot more now if I put it up for auction. This one here,
he's asking about which card should he buy and flip. So,
which card should you buy and flip? Pre-war card should I buy? I don't know if you can flip anything. You need to purchase these things, most of them pre-pandemic. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think at this point you need a DeLorean in order to do
flipping. Yeah. But I don't think you can go wrong with a Ruth card. You're not going to lose value on a Babe Ruth card, like an auction confectionery card or a Ty Cobb card. They're not going to lose their value. Those two players, I've never really seen much of a dip in those guys. people still pay a premium for those cards.
Well, let's just say all the cards you showed me are basically legendary players. Is that where all your focus generally is these days?
Yeah. So let's say I have a let's say I have a Honey Boy common player. To generate funds, since I have the Tris speaker, I will probably sell the Honey Boy, common player because I don't need, if I have the Tris speaker, I don't need whoever, if it's a common player. So, because like I said, I've told this before, I have too many cards, so I'm trying to downsize on what I have.
Andrew's wondering if your favorite post-war player is Willie Mays or if it's somebody else.
I would say Willie Mays. Yeah. I have most of his cards. I don't know if I think I have his full run of Topps cards, and I have many. There's some cards I just won't. You kind of go ebb and flow. I'm all in on Willie Mays, so I'll overpay for a card that I never see, and then sometimes I'll just pass it by because my money's going somewhere else. So I'm not totally focused on Willie Mays. I'd love to have a Briggs meet Willie Mays, but the prices on those have really skyrocketed. So I just kind of pass on those right now. But let's see. So I have, let's see, here we go. Here's this one here I picked up at the National in Chicago. And it's, what is it? The W517. And the gentleman, so what I do, and I've mentioned this before, is let's say I'm at a pre-war booth and some Joe Jones walks up and he's selling some cards to the dealer. And I don't get in their way, but of course I got an ear to what this gentleman has that he's trying to sell the dealer. And if the dealer passes and he starts to walk away, I'll say, hey, what can I see the Lou Gehrig card you have? And he actually had 3 of them. And they were ungraded. And I made an offer, and it was actually I think it was on a Wednesday, first day of one of the Nationals, and made an offer and picked it up. So one way you can do it, I mean, you don't get involved, obviously with the transaction, a dealer, but if the guy walks away.
Oh yeah, it's fair game at that point.
Hey, can I see that? Hey, you mind? And I offered him, and he picked it up. And so I picked this one up, and it came back at 2. And basically there was 3 cards together vertically. So I don't know, there's a line here and they were cut 3 cards. And for like a penny or whatever, you see them. I've seen them out there, the 3 cards still attached. And one of the games things was like you would pull, one of the companies were selling it. One merchant was selling it the way it was called. God, I can't remember. It was like Gunslinger or Guns, whatever. And you'd pull out, this would be, let's say, the top card, and you would pull it out. And if the bottom card had a sticker or some kind of color on it, you would win a ball or something like that. So obviously different merchants, in order to sell them, would do different things, but just a blank black strip card. So that was one of my, I think I paid maybe $700 for it. And I picked of the 3, I picked up the best one of the 3. And,
nice deal.
Yeah. As we're moving along here, let's see. All right. This one's right up my alley. It's the 1925 Drake's Cake. 1925 Drake's Cake. Now,
what's the deal with the year? Because I saw this listed differently on VCP.
Okay. So apparently Net 54 apparently Babe Ruth did not make any films with Universal Studios until 1932. He made films, but it weren't Universal films. So it couldn't be 1925. And plus, he's the only player in the set, baseball player in the set. They're all movie stars.
Yeah.
And there's another movie star that could not have made that film, his particular picture, in 1925.
I think Dan's right, though, that Ruth has your hair in that photo, Rick.
There we go. There we go. He's got a good set of hair, man.
Yeah.
But 1932, they came up with, probably this is when it came out. And on the back, I love the back, Drake's cake. So there's one per package. I think they're called Yankee cakes they were in. And, this is the same company as the Drake 1950 TV series cards and also the 1980 cards. Same company, Drake's Cake. So these are, you don't see them very often. You see them once in a while. Now, why is this a 1? I mean, doesn't that look, looks like
it's a gorgeous one.
Well, because there's a little pinhole one side right there where my finger is.
Well, there you go. Shout out to Mookie Chilson.
And heck, if you can, come on. If you can save, I imagine a high grade one, you're talking thousands more than what I paid for it, a little pinhole. So,
which, by the way, the graded population is only 22 on that card.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything Ruth, I'm all in, especially one that you don't see every day. Let's see here. Well, we'll do another Ruth. This is another Canadian issue, the 1923 Maple Crispet Ruth. And it's in a 2. These you see, not often, but I imagine, I didn't look at the pop, but what is it, probably 20, 30, 40, 50? So I don't know.
It is 57.
57, okay. 57. And they have the cobs in there. And I have another one. Actually, let me think here. I actually have one on eBay right now I'm selling of the Maple Crispet card. God, what's the name? Harris? I'm trying to remember his name. But so basically, you would type of thing, it's a confectionery. You would turn in the complete set. And of course, they screwed the kids on this issue too, because Casey Stengel is a short printed one that you never find.
Well, the audience is loving the fact that you're admitting that you're flipping. So,
yeah, well, like I said, if I have the Ruth, why do I need some common player? So like later, I'm going to show you a card I just picked up. Was costly. I have another one that, with these auction houses, when you write them a check, it takes for a month to get the card back. So I have another one, a Ty Cobb, that's so I have to pay for these things. So why not sell some of these other ones,
Well, I think the photo used on that last one to me just looks like a tighter shot of the one I got here. So
might be, yeah. I've seen an actual photo of this. You see it on sometimes auctions. Yeah.
So,
but this one's in pretty good shape for a 2. I don't know. Right up my line. All right. How about another Ruth? This one here, this one's pretty scarce. The 1922 W573.
Steven's asking if Ruth was in the Canadian Nielsen's chocolate set.
No, I don't think so. Is he? No. Wait. Yes. Well, shoot. Yes, he is. Yeah, I'm changing my mind here. Yes, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, isn't it the same look as like the W573?
Yeah. He's in there. He's in there. Same
or is
look.
it the swinging one that's like in the?
I don't have it. I don't have it. So yeah, it's in there. Yeah. So this one here, same thing. you see this in 1922 caramel, American caramel, but it's a strip card. And it got the authentic because, believe it or not, there was 10 cards vertically. The whole strip was 10 cards. So you can imagine how many actually survived those 10 cards. So you would basically cut it. It was cut here. And, but these are pretty tough. And the Ruth is blank back here. And here he is. He's holding the ball, but in the actual photo, there's a gentleman next to him. So he's holding the ball out next to the gentleman. I don't remember what the occasion was, but this is a common photo. The American Caramel has one. So again, I think these were like a penny a strip to get a strip. And some of them are actually on the back here. You would have the local merchants too that would put their stamps on there. So again, you know, the salesperson coming by, hey, I have these strips of cards, 10 cards to a strip. You can put your advertisement stamp on it, or we can do it. You know, so we don't really know who the actual manufacturer produced these cards, but very cool. In really good shape too, except for it's cut just not totally correct. As we're rattling on here, let's see.
What's by the way, the W573 pop count is 30.
30, yeah. So when you have the Gaudis at over 1,000, you know, it's just crazy. 30 is nothing, you know. It's kind of fun. I don't know. It's kind of neat actually when you think about it. That I have one, and now I'm sure there's more that have not been graded the full strip.
Oh, sure.
But there's probably not hundreds of them, you know. So it's kind of cool to own one of them. This one here is a 1930-39, multiple years Rogers Peak Ty Cobb.
Yeah, this one I was curious about too, because PSA labels them as 29 to 30. SGC always has them as labeled as the 30s in the older flip, or 30 to 39 in the new one, and VCP has it shown as a 32. So
yes, I don't know. You know, multiple years. Children's department store, and basically there's meant to be put in an album, and so I guess they were European type children's outfits. So I imagine pretty expensive. And you know, the kid would come in, and if you bought something, you'd get a card, and blank back, meant to be put in an album. And there's a Roof just went up for sale, and I bid on it, but it was, I don't know what it went, 10 grand or something like that. It was pretty crazy for a Roof.
Well, either way, with the Cobb though, it's post playing day, so that one's garbage, right?
Well, I don't know. Well, it is. You know what? It would be the year after, I think.
I thought he was done in 27.
28? Did he 28 or 27?
28.
I don't know. And some I've seen, like you said, you've seen them, what, 29 to 30 or whatever. So, and I didn't pay. This was a national pickup. And, you know, I don't know what I paid, but it was nothing like a normal Cobb, plain day Cobb would be. So
did he continue managing though for a few years after he quit playing though? So I guess that would technically be a manager card.
There you go. But not very common. You see them, but not very. I think there's a Tris speaker.
Oh yeah, the total pop I found on that one was 16.
Yeah. Here's a 1909 W555 of Johnny Evers or Evers. I can't remember which way he goes by. But another off a candy box. And
whenever I see him, I think of George Plimpton saying it over and over and over again in the baseball documentary as Evers. So
yeah. I saw somewhere on YouTube, I was reading up on or seeing some guy, a player that played with him or knew him or relative, And I can't remember what he mentioned, Evers or Evers. I think it was Evers though. But right up my line, there's actually one on eBay. Like, I shouldn't say that. Somebody's going to bid on it. There's a Mordecai 3-finger brown I'm going to bid on of the W555. Well, no, it's not a W555. It's something else. Very similar. It's this issue right here. It's the 1912. Looks very similar. WUNC. See, it's very similar. But it's a Mordecai Brown, and you can actually see his hand missing the fingers. So that's on eBay, and I'm going to be bidding on it. I told John Mangini, do not. I saw it first. Do not bid on it. These are very hard. I bet you if you looked up this one, this is like 1 or 2, literally. We don't even know where this comes from, the WUNC strip card.
Oh, yeah, all those cards, the population total known is single digit.
Yeah. This is the Doyle. But so if I get the 3 fingers brown, this is going up for auction.
All right.
Let's see. I don't know. When we keep going or what? I don't know. I just pulled out a bunch of cards. Literally, I thought some cards that would interest you or interest people. Cards I haven't shown. I've shown before, but maybe a couple years ago. And so I decided.
We had a question of what kind of candy box a minute ago. I don't know what that directly. Do you know what they're asking?
Well, the W555 was like I think it was a candy box, the one with the Evers, but it was like a thing where you would look through it. There was like a pinhole thing, and there was a box with a bunch of players.
Yeah,
when you looked through it, it would show you, the card itself, like a photo type, one of those back in 1910, type of thing where you just look through it and you see the
1910 style, like ViewMaster technology.
Yeah, exactly. Where you just look through it and there's a picture of a player, that type of thing. All right, here's I have one card that I know Dave Blue Jacket 66 does not have. I know it because he told me. It's the 1910 E91 Christy Mathewson. And these came in, I believe, 4 different colors, right, John? Came green, blue, red.
Orange, and red, yeah.
Yes. And like you were mentioning, I went outside of when I was talking to you, you were saying maybe the green was the least common. I know the orange
has the least number of at least online transactions.
And these are very tough to find in any decent condition, and just very, very cool. So in the back here, it says 30 ball players. And it's kind of the front's pretty nice. The back's kind of a beater, but very cool.
The total pop of all 4 colors is 85 because SGC does not provide separate numbers.
Okay.
For the different colors.
Gotcha. So now some people would collect, right? They would want to collect all the colors, but that's not me. As long as I have one, I think Dave has like all the Ty Cobbs, and then he's missing this orange. But some people like to do that, but I'm not. If I have one of the, one card, that's fine. I'm gonna move on because they're pretty expensive to come.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, Christy Mathewson. This is the 1909. It maybe his best looking. Christy Mathewson is 1909 E102. Just a beautiful, beautiful card with the sky and so forth. This one here I purchased on eBay. But it wasn't graded. It was raw. So I took a chance. I paid $600 maybe for it, and it came back at 2.5 when I got it graded.
Nice.
They're just trusted the seller. And now, like I say, flipping, this one's pretty expensive nowadays, where it'd be a lot more than $600 for this card. So I thought it was really cool. The back's really nice, though. Look at that. So it has, let's see here. It has the Pittsburgh, the Detroit, the Boston. They're showing multiple what players are in the set. But one of his most, I think, collectors, Christy Matheson collectors, this would be probably one of the ones to get, or one of his favorites.
Yeah, that's one of the few cards you're showing tonight that exceeds 100 graded at 106.
And I think there's other, besides that issue, he's in the E102, he's in some other E issues too. Not just the same image, but used for other sets too. So some are rarer than others. Did I show you, did we do the Oxford Confectionary Cop? Did I already do that one?
Not yet.
All right, so this one here was my most viewed video. Okay, it still gets views. It may be a couple, and this was a few years ago, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And it's a 1921. I picked this one up at the National, 1921 E253 Oxford Confectionary tie cob. It's a 3. Okay, so it is a 3, but it shouldn't be a 3. Why is that? Because there's a pinhole right under his nose. It's hard to see. Let's see if I can. Oh, yeah. Just, I don't know. But it's underneath his nose. There's a little pinhole that goes all the way through. If you set up by the light, you can see it. And it shouldn't be a 3. So I made a video. Hey, what's PSA doing? They missed this one. A pinhole never comes back at PSA 3. And it's an old holder. And I knew it had a pinhole. The dealer told me it had a pinhole. And a lot of times, those lights, it was a Chicago National. It's hard to see. You're looking at the card. Oh, it looks like a 3. And I stuck it up, and I see a pinhole. And it says, I don't know if I mentioned or he told me first. And so I bought it for a decent price. But really good shape besides the pinhole. And the big boy, well, the Cobb is a big boy. It's a confectionery issue. The other one is the Babe Ruth. I think one of the auction, Golden has one up for auction. That's a 1. It's pretty cool because it's confectionery, caramel, but they're not the best looking cards in the world, But I don't know how many thousands of people. I still, my monthly report from YouTube, I still get people years later, taking a peek at that one.
Everybody likes to see PSA screw up.
Yeah, so. See PSA screw up, but it's kind of hard. Literally, I don't think I'm right? I think if I remember it, they do maybe as high as a 2 for a pinhole, but they never do a 3 for a pinhole. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen SGC go higher than a 1 with a pinhole.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Let's see here. What have I got left? All right, this one here. This is another national pickup. Last day on a Sunday, the 1909 American Caramel. I love the Cy Young in the uniform, the Boston uniform. That's very cool. And these, it's kind of fun, is whoever cut these, most of them are cut like this. The guy must have been drunk when he cut them off the sheet. Because there's like no rhyme or reason. They're for most of them. And this beautiful color. And I picked this up literally right before I head for the airport. I had $2,000 left I was going to take home with me. and I offered the guy. It was like one of those spur of the moment. Ah, shit! I'll just spend it all. I got it, and it comes back. I don't even know if it's a 3 nowadays, but it goes for a lot more a 3 than what I purchased it for. So I think it's really cool when he's in his Boston uniform.
Oh yeah,
It
most
has
plentiful
cool.
card you've shown so far with 285 of them graded.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's really cool, but like I said, it's totally miscut, and many of them are miscut. All right, to rub John Mangini, I just put this in out just to kind of piss him off. This is the
That's always
1953 DeLong, Lou Gehrig. And I picked this one up at the Chicago National. All the Chicago always comes together, but it's a beautiful 1.5. Really happy to pick this up. And this one also has just skyrocketed in price. I mean, I paid pretty big for it, but it's going for even more now. This is, 4 years ago. But really cool to own this one. I only showed this one, I think, once in a video when I purchased it for the, what I got.
It does seem to be high demand because that is the highest population of anything now at 359. So
yeah, it was a one-hit wonder, DeLong, 1 year, one year, and the gentleman, I think, worked for Gaudi, and he moved to set up his own business, DeLong. And it was only 1 year, but beautiful cards, I do have a few of those I haven't sold yet. I think I have to, but I'll probably keep. They're just beautiful cards, all of them in the set, Let's see what else I got. Oh, this is another national pickup. I actually traded a Ruth for it. 1933 Warsh cigars, Lou Gehrig. The key card would be him and the Ruth. The blank back. And I picked this one up at the National. I traded a red Gaudi Cobb, a beater. One that was authentic. Somebody tried to fix a crease. And these were Porsche cigars. You would get them in, and they would mail them to you. So there's envelopes out there with the return address, Warsh cigars, and it was from St. Paul area, Minnesota. A lot of these images come from those newspapers. Some say that they were actually sold by newspaper also, but because they're blank back, there's no description of where, but you do see them, the envelopes were cigars. And a recent auction house was selling some of their cigar boxes, but I think these are really cool. Too bad they don't
this
have
one. To me, goes back into the ultra rare category with 18 graded copies of the Gehrig.
Yeah, so I can always get a red Gaudi Ruth, and it kind of really bugged me because somebody fixed it. Looked nice, but somebody fixed a crease and kind of painted it in a little bit. So it's always bugged me, and I picked that. I just traded that for it. Anyway, let's see what else. How about the 1933 Buttercream Chuck Klein? The bookmarker, I call these things. What's interesting about this is a confectionery. What's interesting on the back, you were supposed to fill out, estimate by October 1st what his batting average was going to be. And he actually won the batting title this year. So it was kind of cool to own the Chuck Klein. He had the highest batting average. So these, you see them, different players, but if you're looking for a particular player, sometimes they're hard to find. Definitely be hard to find if you're building a set. God, I'm running out of cards. Let's see here. That I pulled. I show you. I got another. I don't even know what time. What time is it anyway? I don't even know.
We are hour and 5 minutes in.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I got another one here. Now this one here, I'm only going to show you the back because I haven't made a video of it yet. But this is my rarest Christy Mathewson card. Definitely rarest. It's from the American Caramel Company. Okay. And it's a die cut, standalone. And I'll show you the back. I don't know if guys, if you can see that. So it says American Caramel Company. And there's tape on each side just to hold the bottoms together. That meant that you would bend it over and have it stand by itself. And I recently picked this one up, and I'm not going to show you the front. You're going to have to wait till my video. But this particular card was used, one of the magazines, the old cardboard magazine actually had this exact card because there's only a few in existence of this player. So anyway, it's a 1910 E125. 1910 E125.
Awesome. We got another question. Do you have any Negro League cards?
Negro League cards, I don't. Not playing day. No. No.
Yeah, those ones are tough and expensive.
Especially nowadays, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays.
I mean, they shot crazy after the whole record book thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are ones, I don't know. I think that's about what I have just in front of me to show. I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Any more questions from the audience here? Or, well, I mean, I had a question for you. With someone like that plays in all these different auction houses, any pluses or minuses you feel like for particular ones? Any?
You know, I've never had an issue, you know, with an auction house. You can call them right on the phone. You could pretty much talk to the president of the auction house if you want to. They send you an invoice, you send a payment. Some don't take credit cards or anything like that, so they'll take a, you know, Venmo or PayPal or check, you know, whatever. And so for those, you know, I sometimes just write a check, and you might get the card back after they hold it for a week, you know, 3 weeks later, a month later, but you get it back. It's always in good shape. Most do a good job of showing you what the actual card looks like, front, back, close-ups. There's a few there's one particular auction house that probably doesn't do a very good job of it. Not that they hide the flaws, but they don't really explain to you what the flaws are. So you might have to contact them. You know, if it's an expensive card, you kind of want to know, well, why is the one on PSA on their website, it shows a crease, but on your website, on your picture, it doesn't show that crease. That kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, they play lighting tricks or something.
Yeah, lighting tricks on it, and and some are really good. They'll tell you, you know, you don't even see the crease. There's a crease there. This is that. There's staining. They give you a description. So a lot of times I love, you know, if I'm looking up a card, I'll look up the different auction houses if they've sold it before, you know, and then somebody else does the background on the card. And sometimes they're wrong. You know, they'll say something, there's new information. Oh yeah, the bidding on REA was. Are you able to do that or something? I don't even know what.
Yeah, I can pull up the screen
I
if
mean, if
there's
you
a
have time,
couple
I don't know
of
if you have
cards
time.
you were interested in there. It's already into overtime, so no one new can jump in suddenly.
Joe Wood
Let me-
collect Doug, man. He has. I have actually a. Where is it? I have a photo right here.
So, any particular cards you were going for on here?
Yeah, so I believe it's the Nap Lajoie stamp. So if 1910, I believe it's a. If you tap in Nap, I just typed in Nap, it comes up. But Nap Lajoie stamp. There it is in the middle there. What's that going for now?
It's currently at 170.
Hey, I'm right there, man. I'm still leading for that. Now those are tough. Doesn't look like him at all. But those are very, 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 very tough to find. And I'm kind of surprised that one's as low as it is. If you look at the Christy Mathewson that's also in there, there's two different versions of it. And this, the one on here, I've never seen before. And that's probably going for $800 now compared to the Nap Lajoie. But basically, it was I've seen online. There was like it was a German issue. On the top, it had like a little cardboard saying these were transfers or stamps, and you would basically cut them out. And right up my line. Some oddball.
Yeah, very oddball.
Cleveland Lajoie. But if you look, so I'm ahead there. I might win that. I don't know if I'll win that. A lot of these auction houses, if you've never bid on an auction house, John, you probably know too. Oh yeah, I'm leading. And when the last minute, man, it goes $500 more, whatever. It just people keep bidding. So I doubt I'm going to win that. I think I bid to something. Then you have also the, the 20% on it.
Yeah.
But and then some of the auction houses don't even God, I can't. Some of them don't charge you the tax. The tax if you live in, let's say, New Jersey or something, but in California, they don't charge you. So if you're buying a high price item, you can save $300-400 on taxes.
That's a huge savings for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't deal with sales tax in Oregon, but
yeah. But then most do though. Most do.
Yeah.
Charge you the tax, But if you look at can you pull up the Christy Mathewson? It's the same issue.
Sure.
Same. And that one's, I think, authentic, and it's going for big money. There it is.
675.
Yeah. See,
And authentic because the little bit miscut there from the factory.
And you're talking, 20% of that, so a lot different than. And I think this one here, or a version of this, I think they have two different ones. I think the last sale was like a 3 or 4 for $600 recently, and so this is already over that, and it's authentic. So anyway, I'm kind of out on that. I'm just not going to pay that kind of money for it, but it doesn't even look like him. But if I can get the Nap Lajoie, a quarter of what this one's going for, hopefully.
Oh yeah, still gives you a sample of the set. Legendary.
And they're never. I mean, these are so tough to find. So those are the only two I bid on, I think. What the auction house, the golden auction, is the unbelievable one, but that doesn't close for another couple weeks. That has unbelievable.
Oh yeah, the high end vintage one they got. Yeah.
I get these catalogs, man. I just drool. I mean, that's way over just you're $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, Just
Yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy.
I mean, that's crazy money I'm spending, but it's crazy, crazy money. But he was, the I think there's also what heritage, but there was nothing really in heritage that was interest me.
Yeah,
RNA,
Heritage had one ending tonight. Leland's had one ending yesterday.
yeah, yeah.
But
So I mean, you have to be a lover of whatever to get something like that. I mean, nondescript. I mean, just come. But I love that kind of stuff. The history behind it, German. Um, I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
yeah,
Um,
they are definitely a different collectible there.
yeah, yeah. When you see it, the old label, and a lot of these things are total mysteries. Where I mean, it's a German issue, but where it came from and this, that, and everything else, and how it survived all these years and why it survived. I mean, who's gonna
Or
hold on to
why it
that?
was even printed in Germany for
Yeah,
American baseball. I mean,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
it's there's nothing on it indicated being like an actual stamp
Yeah, yeah. And
or postage.
I have a Ruth I did a video on recently. It's the actual size of I'm like a stamp, the post office stamp that I picked up, and thought it was really cool. But so I comb through all these. I just love, it's like some of the guys I text, hey, it's REA day, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that type of thing. It's just fun to look. Um, and like I said, Golden has some real cool stuff. That it has a Ruth auction confectionery.
Oh
It
yeah.
has a
I mean, I just put bids on things just to even
yeah,
like
yeah.
follow. Like I'm interested in eventually owning a T227, so I followed that one here with Rube Marquard. But
Yeah, the one on top there, I have that one. I have that. The tough one in the set is the Bender for whatever reason. I picked up. I did a video. I picked up the Cobb, and I also have the Marquardt, and I have the Home Run Baker. And there was only 4 players in the set, and the other one would be the Bender. But for whatever reason, the Bender seems to be tougher. Those are beautiful cards.
oh yeah, that's why I'd like to get one of them. Which
Yeah.
clearly the Cobb is out of my price range forever, probably. But
These are semi. I mean, I know the Marquardt's pretty affordable, and also the Home Run Baker. But
yeah, those
beautiful,
were probably the two I was looking at.
and I think the reason why, I mean, the back's fantastic, the front's fantastic. It just doesn't. It's not as popular because it's a multi-sport set. You know what I mean? If it was
Yeah.
all baseball or something like that, um, and they're directly in the pack of tobacco, so a lot of them are all stained up and everything, and pretty tough condition. But
Yeah.
what's that one at right now, roughly?
It's only $100 because it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
authentic. That's obviously chopped at the bottom there.
Oh, it is chopped. Okay, I can't see that. Okay, so that's yeah. So it's not going to probably
Yeah.
go too much more than that.
No.
Yeah.
At most, double of what
Yeah, I
it's at
think you
now.
can find a 1 or 2 for $200-300 or something like that for that particular issue.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Was one that looks decent, low grade, around 300.
Yeah. You can find them. You can find them. Yeah, a lot of them have been cut though. There's some Thai Cobbs out there that have been cut. The guy Ash, that's a dealer. I think at one time at the National, he was selling one that was cut top to bottom, a Thai Cobb. Um, but maybe they meant that they cut them to fit into some kind of album or something. You know what I mean? There's a lot
Yeah.
larger than the tobacco cards. The typical tobacco cards.
And then I was, looking at what the Yinglings cards are doing these days. With there's a Gosselin and a Frisch in the auction.
Okay.
There's one of those U.S. caramels, the lesser Hall of Famer Chuck Klein there. A poor 1 MK is at 150 right now.
If when you go up, is that the Grover Alexander Harrington or right there?
The Grover Alexander is the E126 here.
Oh,
So that one's going at 425 right now for a 1.
okay.
I guess that's a bit rarer set.
Yes.
The E20, the American Caramel. So
Yeah. I have the Harrington or the one of those Thorpes in that same image. That's what I was
thinking. Yeah. So, and then I was looking at batter up cards potentially for Dizzy Dean or Hack Wilson because they're a bit cheaper than their other options. Billy Herman, who's a Hall of Famer that's barely on any cards.
Yeah. The next one down is the Worldwide Gum, right?
Yeah, the Billy Herman and Dizzy Dean.
Yeah. That'd be cool to have. The key one would be the Lou Gehrig, but or Joe DiMaggio. But those are.
Oh yeah, that's a fortune.
Those are a fortune.
Yeah, the DiMaggio is a 5-figure card, I think, in every grade now.
Yeah, I know someone that has one, the Joe D autographed.
Oh, jeez.
But he also has the Hannes Wagner T206.
Okay, so he's got a little bit of a budget.
Yeah, he doesn't promote himself, but he goes to all the events at the YouTube events. He's from my area. And I went to dinner.
If he's got a budget like that, I wouldn't be putting that out there either.
Yeah, well, one of those startups that he sold. So
okay.
I had dinner with him one night, and I'm showing a Ty Cobb, and he's showing me a full run of Gowdy Roof's autographed. Just stuff like that. It's like out of this mind. You can buy
another plane of existence.
And then he shows me a picture of his T206 Wagner, and he actually PSA let him put. I can't remember what he put on it. His collection is on it, so he has one of the 50, but it's decent looking too. So there's people out there who just don't promote themselves, that don't make videos. They got the collections. They just don't.
Oh yeah, but you're talking multi-million dollars like that, then yeah, you don't want to advertise who you are to walk around places.
No. Yeah. So here we're at a German bar in Redwood City, right up your line, right? Redwood City.
I was born in Redwood City in the
there
Kaiser Hospital,
right downtown there, and we're sitting at the bar, and he didn't pull out the Wagner, but he's pulling out cards and showing me stuff, and these people they have no idea how much this. I mean, these cards are like, not millions, but hundreds of thousands of dollars of merchandise.
Yeah,
that's just crazy. He bought, the Jimmy collection or whatever. That guy that was on one of the Uncle Jimmy or whatever, and he bought, I think, one or two of his Gowdy Roof's autograph cards. But anyway,
yeah,
I was drooling. So everyone is in their, you're going to be in your lane one way or the other.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's where I'm choosing very low cost options for the more legendary players as much as I can.
Yeah, it's tough.
As low cost as they actually get, but
it's tough when you see stuff, it's hard not to keep up with the Joneses. Not those Joneses, but the Joneses, where you see something. So I don't know. So
that's why my only option I feel like for Wagner is one of the game cards. So
yeah, the national game or whatever.
Either national game, Tom Barker, or Polo Grounds, one of those three.
I have the Joe Jackson, and because I can't afford a Joe Jackson, that's the only thing I was able to afford was a Joe Jackson. I think it's a national game one.
Yeah, it's a good shot on that one at least. So
Yeah. Nice photo of him. But
well, I think things are winding down here. Not too much action in the chat. So
all
thank you
right.
so much for
Well,
sharing
thanks,
with
man. It
us,
was
Rick.
fun. It was fun, John. If, like I mentioned to you before, if you see one of these big auctions and you want me or someone else too to come on and like the one you did
Oh
recently.
yeah, I did that with Mike Petty.
Yeah,
Following,
Eddie. I was in my car.
encouraging him to spend more money.
Yeah, that's half the fun, And he's kind of fun. I mean, should I get this? Should I get that? Or I lost that. But
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that with you when there's a good auction in the future.
yeah, good auction. Maybe gold. Like I said, golden. If you're available, or I don't know when that close. There's like a month long, so it's like first week.
Yeah, I haven't even checked when that one closes. I know
Yeah,
they're advertising a long time.
but those are some big boy cards and that. But anyway, hey, thanks, John. Man, seriously.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everyone who's there in the chat. So, have yourselves a lovely evening, and I guess we'll see you next time here on Four Collectors. So, thanks again, Rick.
All right, man. Appreciate it.